All right. Good evening. My name is Noelle Lee Turner, and I currently serve as Chief Diversity Officer of the New Jersey Department of Veteran Affairs, as a role which has emphasized the importance of awareness and exposure to information across communities. Um, and increased awareness leads to informed decisions and strategy that we know. So today I'll be discussing how leaders can empower communities by improving access to civic information and engagement. This topic is especially important because we often assume that people are disengaged from the civic process, when in reality, many individuals are navigating environments filled with misinformation, unclear messaging, and limited access to relevant information. And that is especially true today. This presentation focuses on how leadership, when applied intentionally, can bridge that gap by not only informing communities, but also building trust, connection, and meaningful participation. Okay, so the problem we are facing is not simply a lack of engagement, but a lack of accessible, clear, and trustworthy information. Many individuals are exposed to headlines that are incomplete, that are biased, or difficult to interpret, especially when it comes to local legislation and policies that directly impact their lives, and really not just local, but I think this is more prevalent on the federal level for sure. The issue is even more pronounced in marginalized communities where access to information, trust in systems, and historical barriers already exist. As a result, people may feel disconnected from civic processes or unsure about how to engage. And so research supports this idea, showing that civic participation is often shaped by access, awareness, and connection to the process rather than a lack of interest. This reframes the issue, right? People are not disengaged in this case, they are often underinformed or disconnected. And so, why does this matter? This matters because civic engagement has historically been the foundation for meaningful change. Movements like the women's suffrage, the civil rights movement, the labor movements, and the Stonewall Uprising, among many others, all demonstrate that progress happens when communities are informed, they are organized, they are mobilized, and they are engaged. However, engagement is not just driven by information alone. Research shows that people are more likely to take action when they feel a moral connection to the issue and see how it aligns with their values and their personal identities. When individuals feel disconnected from both the information and the meaning behind it, participation declines. This leads to reduced trust, limited representation, and fewer opportunities for communities to influence decisions that directly impact them. So, what makes this issue especially important is that we already are seeing real world examples of leadership addressing it right here in the state of New Jersey, which is where I reside. Initiatives like the Cultural and Heritage Commissions and the Faith Action Center are creating structured pathways for community engagement. At the governor's office level, we see commissions like the American Indian Commission, we see the Puerto Rican Commission, we see Veterans Commission, we see the LGBT plus commissions. And these efforts are designed to ensure that communities are not just recipients of policy, but active contributors to it. Cultural commissions provide representation and insight into specific communities, while Faith Action Center connects the faith based organizations that have historically played a major role in advocacy and social change. This reflects a deeper leadership principle that the most effective leaders do not just speak to communities, but create systems for communities to speak back and inform the strategies of the state. So, the leadership approach. To address this challenge effectively, leaders must synthesize multiple leadership theories rather than just relying on one approach. According to Nordhaus, our text this semester, leadership is complex in environments and requires flexibility and the ability to adapt to changing conditions. Transformational leadership helps ensure a shared vision and purpose, while adaptive leadership allows leaders to navigate uncertainty and evolving changes. Empowerment leadership ensures individuals feel equipped and confident to participate, and emotional intelligence, especially self awareness and empathy, help leaders build trust and connection with their constituents. Psychological safety is also critical, as it creates an environment where people feel comfortable asking questions, expressing concerns, and engaging in dialogue without fear of judgment or retaliation. Together, these approaches create a leadership framework that is both strategic and relational. So, the action plan. This plan focuses on translating leadership theory into practical steps. The first step is conducting community listening sessions, which allows leaders to understand the specific needs, concerns, and knowledge gaps within the community. It also empowers communities and gives them a sense of agency, and the ability to express what it is that they are seeing in their personal day to day experiences in their communities, and allows us for a structured way for them to be able to share that with leaders who are sitting at tables which influence change and decision making. Okay, so next, information must be simplified and made accessible. This means breaking down complex policies and legislation into formats that are clear and easy to understand, getting rid of the legalese, right? Talking to the everyday person that they understand what's at stake and how it impacts them directly, and what their options are to engage and help to influence an outcome that is for their best benefit. Um, Partnering with existing structures such as cultural commissions and faith-based networks help expand reach and build trust. Hosting community dialogues creates a safe space for people to ask questions and engage in conversations, which is essential, as we've already said, for building confidence and participation among communities. Finally, maintaining ongoing communication ensures that engagement is not just a one-time effort, but it is sustained through a process that allows for continual engagement and influence directly from the communities that we are looking to impact. Okay, so expected outcomes. If implemented effectively, this approach leads to several key outcomes, right? Communities become more informed and better equipped to understand policies and decisions that impact their lives. Engagement increases because individuals feel more confident and connected to the process now that they have a higher sense of awareness and understanding. Trust in leadership and institutions also improves as transparency and communication becomes more consistent. Additionally, decision making becomes more inclusive. We need folks that the decisions are impacting to be a part of that decision making process, right? Um, as leaders are able to incorporate diverse perspectives from their constituents into their strategies. And then ultimately, this creates a more sustainable model of engagement where communities are not only informed, but empowered to participate and advocate for themselves. So, this project highlights that leadership is not just about strategy, it is deeply relational, always. Access to information is a form of power. They say knowledge is power. Well, that is true. And when communities lack access, they are limited in their ability to participate and influence change. Effective leadership requires intentional efforts to build trust, create access, and invite participation. It also requires leaders to recognize that engagement does not happen automatically, but it must be cultivated. Cultivated, something that is shaped. And when leaders combine empathy, adaptability, and commitment to inclusion, they can create environments where communities feel seen, feel heard, and feel empowered. That is where meaningful and lasting change begins. Thank you. These are my references. And I look forward to continuing to be a part of the growth. New Jersey has just had a change in administration at the governor's level. And so our Lieutenant Governor Dale G. Caldwell, is the one who is spearheading the Cultural and Heritage Commissions, as well as the Faith Action Network Center. And I'm really intrigued as a chief diversity officer of one of the state departments to see and be a part of the ways that these strategies will help to inform state strategy overall with the concerns and the needs and the desires of those who live in the state, especially in marginalized communities where the need is greater. Thank you.